Hello, myself Shreyam Singh and I welcome all of you to our channel Learn to Upgrade. So today's our basically agenda is to understand the importance of heart in circulatory system. Why this heart is so important in our body. Why it is called the pump house of our body. These all question will be answered to you in this session today. So without any wasting our time, let's start with the session. So as we all aware that the heart is called the pump house of our body, means basically it pumps the blood into our body. But how this whole process takes place? What is called cardiac cycle? So these all questions we will take care. Now let's move on further. See, before going to the heart, let us understand how blood flows in our body. So basically, blood flows in cells form, tissues form, in a tube-like structure called vessels. Vessels are nothing but is a tube-like structure under which the blood flows. Further, these vessels are also classified into two categories. Some vessels are called arteries, some vessels are called veins. These vessels are spread throughout our body, which connected with each and every organ tissue. So arteries and veins, these are divided into two categories. So what are arteries? Arteries are those blood vessels which carry the oxygenated blood in it, or we can also say it's an oxygen rich blood or it's a pure blood. And what is veins? On the other hand, veins contains carbon dioxide in it, means it's oxygen poor blood and it's a impure blood also, we can say. These oxygenated blood comes through the lungs, where the deoxygenated blood get purified, and after that this oxygenated blood, after getting oxygen rich, travels through the heart and then expressed throughout the organ tissues in our body via the arteries, and from the organ tissues to the lungs via heart, these carbon dioxide rich blood or deoxygenated blood flows in veins. So this is classification, as I think so you will better know. So let's move further. Just remember here 2 points. The blood vessels is a tube-like structure in which the blood flows, and arteries are those blood vessels in which the oxygenated blood flows, and veins are those blood vessels in which the deoxygenated blood flows. Just remember these 2-3 points here. Now let's move forward. See, look, in front of you here is an illustration of a circulatory system of our human body. This is the whole circulatory system you can see here. We will come back to this later on. First, we will let us understand the importance of heart in this. What is the today's our agenda is to understand what is the role of heart in this circulatory system. Why it is the most important circulatory system also of human body. So let's understand what is human heart. So human heart is the pump house of our body, as we said. It is important also, and this human heart is also made of a strong cardiac muscles. They are one of the strongest muscles of a human body. Here is the illustration of a human heart in front of you. What actually a human heart looks like. It's not like a heart that we say in day-to-day life. So it's a human illustration. It is an actual illustration of a human heart, how it really looks like. This in front of you. So if we go further away, then parts of a heart. Basically, the hearts are divided into four chambers. One is called right atrium, another is called left ventricle, then left atrium, left ventricle. These are the four chambers of a heart, and in these four chambers only the whole process of pumping takes place. How? Let's see. Now we will discuss how it takes place. So basically question which we have to answer today is how human heart circulate the blood throughout the body. This is the basic question we have to find the answer of it today in this session. How human heart circulate the blood throughout the body. See, human heart circulate the true blood throughout the body. We have to answer this. You can see here is the illustration. Here the blue blood vessels, whichever you blue blood vessels you can see, those are the veins, and the arteries has been represented by the red blood vessels. For better understanding of you guys, this classification has been made here. Now let's start with the process. First, deoxygenated blood. As I said earlier, right now, what is deoxygenated blood? It is oxygen poor, means it is carbon rich blood that comes from the organ tissues of the body, all organ tissues of the body, from through traveling through veins. They travels through veins and they come. After coming to the heart, first they enter into the right atrium, via two large veins called superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. What are now this superior vena cava and inferior vena cava? It is a name of the human body largest vein. It is a vein only, but it is the largest vein of human body, through which this deoxygenated blood enters into the human heart. Now this why this it divided superior and inferior? There is logic behind this also. Superior vena cava brings the blood from the upper side of your body, upper portion of your body, that is head, chest, neck, and inferior vena cava brings the blood from the lower part of your body, lower portion of your body, that are legs, thighs, stomach, digestive system. So this is the logic to understand here. Superior vena cava brings the blood from the upper part of your body, and inferior vena cava bring the blood from the lower part of body. And vena cava is the largest vein of a human body. And through vena cava, the deoxygenated blood enters to the heart into the right atrium. Now, after entering to the right atrium contracts and pumps the blood into the right ventricle through the valve called tricuspid valve. Now, the heart contracts, and a valve is there between the right ventricle and right atrium called the tricuspid valve, that opens, and whole blood flows from right atrium to the right ventricle. This is the first step that has been taken place. The whole blood flows through the right atrium to the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve. The name is to be remembered here, through which valve the deoxygenated blood flows from the right atrium to the right ventricle. It's only the tricuspid valve. So I think so the things are clear till here. So let's move forward to the second step. Now, the second step, the right ventricle contracts. When the heart contracts and the right ventricle contracts, the blood is pumped out of the heart directly into the pulmonary artery. Now it goes from vein to the artery, pulmonary artery, and through valve which it passes is known as pulmonary valve, or pulmonary valve we can say. Through that valve the whole blood is transferred to the pulmonary artery. Now remember the concept I just told you a minutes ago. To remember, the arteries contain the oxygenated blood, means which blood? Pure blood, which contain oxygen. But here we can see the blood from right ventricle goes to the pulmonary artery. And which blood was there in the right ventricle? It was the deoxygenated blood, oxygen poor blood, carbon rich blood. Then how it possible that going into artery? As I said, the arteries contain the oxygenated blood. So here is the catch: pulmonary artery is an exception. This is the only artery of human body to contain deoxygenated blood, oxygen poor blood, or containing carbon dioxide blood. Only artery of human body. Remember this point: pulmonary artery is the only artery of human body to contain this deoxygenated blood. It takes deoxygenated blood from your human heart to the lungs for the purification. So is this clear? The after coming into the right ventricle, the blood flows to the pulmonary artery via pulmonary valve, and they take the blood out of the heart to the lungs for purification. So when over there in the lungs, the carbon dioxide been taken out, exhaled out, and the oxygen has been enriched in it, and after purification it comes back to the heart. Now let's move on to second. This was the first part, how the deoxygenated blood comes into the right atrium, then right ventricle through valve, tricuspid valve, after that to the pulmonary artery via pulmonary valve, and then to the lungs for purification. After purification it comes back to the heart. Now let's see. After purification, the blood is called the oxygenated blood. Now the blood is oxygen rich. It is rich of oxygen. It returns from lungs to the heart, but it returns through the pulmonary veins. Here is also, as I told you, the veins carries only deoxygenated blood, but here the pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood. It the same as like in the case of artery, the only artery to carry deoxygenated blood was the pulmonary artery. So it's in the same manner in your whole body, the only vein to carry the oxygenated blood is the pulmonary vein, the only vein that carries the oxygenated blood. And which what is this vein? It takes the oxygenated blood from your lungs to your heart, and that in heart the oxygenated blood enters into the left atrium. Now it enters into the left atrium. Now when the heart contracts, the left atrium, the blood present in the left atrium, it pumps down into the left ventricle. And now this time when the contraction takes place, the blood into the left ventricle, left atrium, flows to the left ventricle, and if it flows there should be a valve. Now this time which valve is includes its bicuspid valve, or it also called a mitral valve. Now this time this valve is involved here. How this takes place? The oxygenated blood comes to the left atrium. After that, through the bicuspid valve, it pumps into the left ventricle, and this oxygenated blood comes to the left atrium via pulmonary vein, the only vein of human body to carry oxygenated blood. Understood this? And the valve which is involved here in this process is mitral valve, and the valve which was involved in the process of transferring blood from right atrium to right ventricle, it was the tricuspid valve. Remember this, the valve involved over there was the tricuspid, and the valve involved here is the bicuspid valve. So let's move ahead now. Now when the left ventricle contracts, the blood present in the left ventricle, it's pumped out of the heart. Now again it pumps out of the heart. As in the case of right ventricle, the blood pumps out of the heart through the pulmonary artery. Now this time the blood taken out of the heart through the aortic valve to the aorta. Aorta is the largest, the biggest artery of human body. The largest artery of human body. Now through which valve it is passes through, as there we can see in that case, the deoxygenated blood goes into the pulmonary artery via the pulmonary valve. And in the same manner here, the oxygenated blood, the pure blood, goes from left ventricle to the aorta via valve involved here is aortic valve. Remember that these two, over there the valve involved was pulmonary valve, and here the valve involved is aortic valve, and to which the blood has been transferred from the heart while getting out into the aorta, and from aorta into the arteries and to the organ tissues. This happens whole cycle. This is how heart comes into the heart, and how blood comes into the heart, and how blood taken out of the heart. Then aorta distribute the oxygenated blood into the rest of the human body, and these cycle go on takes place. Again this oxygenated blood reach to the organ tissues. From there deoxygenated blood travels through the veins again to the heart, then again to the heart to the lungs, and from the lungs after purification to the heart, and again to the organ tissues. These cycles go on processing, and it takes in the milliseconds. One heartbeat means one cycle is complete. So let's move ahead. So this was the whole process. Now it's a revise. Let's revise it, how whole process takes place. We have seen in two parts. Now let's again see in a whole, how whole. So basically first let's start from the body tissues, from the basic body tissues. Body organs are dead body tissues. From there the blood travels through the veins, and through the vena cava it enters into the right atrium. After entering into the right atrium, it enters into the right ventricle, but in between the valve is involved here, and the name of the valve is tricuspid valve. And after that right ventricle, the blood is pumped out of the heart to the pulmonary artery, and the valve involved here is the pulmonary semilunar valve. Its proper name is pulmonary semilunar valve. Pulmonary valve is involved here, and that pulmonary arteries takes blood to the lungs, and over there after the purification, after getting rid of carbon dioxide and taking oxygen, it transferred to the pulmonary vein. What is pulmonary artery? It is the only artery of human body to contain deoxygenated blood, oxygen poor blood. As you can see, the blue is mentioned here. Blue is for the impure blood, oxygen poor blood, deoxygenated blood, and the pulmonary artery is mentioned here. So it is the only artery of human body to contain that. In the lungs after purification, the purified blood or the oxygen rich blood or the oxygenated blood comes out from the lungs and travels to the pulmonary veins in the same manner. The pulmonary vein is the only vein of a human body to contain the oxygenated blood in it, purified blood in it. So through the pulmonary vein, it enters into the left atrium. After the left atrium, it enters into the left ventricle. But a valve involved here is bicuspid valve. Remember this point, bicuspid valve is there. It is about tricuspid valve. Here it is about bicuspid valve. After that, the blood has been pumped into the aorta, but a valve called aortic valve, aortic semilunar valve, the proper name. And after that, aorta takes the blood into the arteries and there to the body tissues, and again the whole cycle starts. So this is the cardiac cycle of our human body. How the cardiac, this is only known as the cardiac cycle. You have heard the word the cardiac cycle. What is cardiac cycle? So this is the cardiac cycle of a human body, how this heart circulate the blood throughout the body. This is the in front of you. So I think the question has been answered now. The how heart circulates the blood throughout the body and what is cardiac cycle, how blood flows through the heart, how blood gets purified into the lungs. I think so it was clear. For the lungs, we have a separate concept. We will look into it in some another videos. How the functions takes place inside the heart, lungs, how the blood is purified inside the lungs. We will look into some other videos. So for that, thank you. I think so I have able to clear all your questions today related to the circulation of blood through the heart, how heart is important. Today we have learned the importance of heart in the circulatory system. In some another video we will focus on the lungs, how the purification of blood takes place into the lungs. So till that, bye.